Hey there, how's it going? Today I want to talk about the Mavllos Delicacy. This is a rod that you can get from AliExpress. It's one of those rods that's rated down below 1 gram. It's also a very inexpensive rod. So I think when I picked this up it was $27. Yeah, so I just double checked it right now. It's like 38 bucks. And so for $38, I think it's really hard to go wrong with this rod. Really, I mean, the other handful of rods that I've tried down in that $38 range, total delivered cost, like this is sub $40, people. I don't think I did reviews of them, to be honest with you. That's how little they impressed me. But this one has done well. Now, for that $39, $38 price point, not only do you get a nice lightweight rod that can cast down to 0.8 grams. It's a 6-foot rod. It's got a very comfortable handle. But you also get two tips, right? You get a solid tip and a hollow tip or a tubular tip. And so the solid tip can cast a little bit higher weights. Supposedly, the tubular would be a little bit more sensitive, I think is the way that works out. The one thing is they definitely seem to be different speed tips. So you can see the one continues to move a good bit longer after the other. So maybe that does hint at the sensitivity a little bit. This is the tip that I've used a good bit. I've caught some nice trout on it. I mainly had this as a trout setup. I ran it with a couple different reels. The Dark Wolf Ultra was the one that was on it the most. It pairs really nice with that sort of matte gray look of the Dark Wolf Ultra. Any reel that has a little bit of red with this little red accent, it would pair nice with that too. And then they've got green. I did mention in my initial unboxing, it's sort of weird, they've got the green. It sort of looks like thread wrap, but it's actually more of a faux wrap. It's just built into the solid wrap that they put around it. But it's only for like the first couple eyelets in the joint, and then after that it's just black. So it's interesting choice. It gives you a lot of options on things that it will look good with. I had no problems casting typical bait finesse weight lures, lighter trout spinners, usually in the 3 gram range is right in the middle of its range is probably where I spent most of the time. But it's funny, in the midst of fighting a decent rainbow trout, in the midst of fighting that, I had this realization of, while the budget gear performs well and it's great and it is, I've had a lot of fun with it, you can feel the difference between a $40 rod and a $240 rod, between a $75 reel and a $350 reel. And the reason I bring that up is on the last day that I fished this, I started the day with my Silver Creek and the Major Craft Fine-Tailed Glass combo. I think I broke off a leader or something, and I'm like, I don't want to retie, so I just pulled my backup rod out of the truck. It was a long drive, and I always take a backup rig with me if I'm driving a long way. Even if I'm only going to fish one, I always have a backup rig in case something goes bad or whatever. Well, in this case, I was fishing with somebody else and I didn't feel like taking the time to retie a leader. I just wanted to get back down and hit the next hole. So I switched setups. And I caught a lot more fish on this setup, and that was partly timing wise. You can feel the difference. And so performance wise, there was nothing about the performance that I'd say, hey, this isn't worth it. In fact, if you want to try bait finesse, I think this is the rod to start with, because it gives you the option to figure out if a solid tip or a hollow tip makes a difference for you. It also lets you experiment with the entire range of traditional BFS weights. And what I mean by traditional is, there's sort of the ultra-finesse guys that they don't throw anything above 2 grams, and they're obsessed with trying to get down below 1 grams. And I like playing around with that too, but they pretty much live there. So this rod will let you play around with that, and if you want to buy it, if you want to buy a budget reel and get into modifying that and figuring out how to cast lures down to like 1 gram, 0.75 grams, I think this is a great platform. But if you want to throw that traditional bait finesse weights up to 8 grams, this setup will do that for you as well. The only thing it doesn't do is what I consider power BFS. And so for me, it's really those 3 ranges: the ultra finesse down below 1 gram, the BFS type stuff in the traditional mid-range, and then the power finesse, which allows you to throw sort of lighter versions of traditional bass presentations, some of the spinner baits and the wacky rigs, and these things that are really the realm of often of spinning rods, well, you can throw them now on bait casters and just have a sized down presentation, small jigs, things like that. You know, a lot of those exceed, you know, the sort of the commonly accepted bait finesse range. But they are normally fished on spinning rods, and so I consider that power BFS, and it's what I've called it. Honestly, and it's just not me, right? Shimano has BFS stuff rated up to 15 grams as well, so that's sort of the cutoff for me. So right around that, you know, half an ounce. I'll push up to 5/8 of an ounce every once in a while on the right things. But this rod will do sort of everything that's traditional bait finesse, clear down into the ultra finesse stuff where you're trying to throw, you know, flies, you know, woolly buggers and things like that, you know, trout magnets. This will do it. So for $40, it's kind of hard to go wrong. It's a great budget entry level. It's a great backup rod to throw in the truck and carry with you. And so if you're interested in it, I have a link down below. If you buy with that link, it helps the channel a little bit, lets me try out some other new stuff. You know, and hopefully you enjoyed this. If there's something else you want me to take a look at, let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.